What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Daily Dose. I'm your host, Dylan Davis. The Daily Dose is brought to you by the Painted Lines. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe to them on YouTube at the Painted Lines. Check them out on Twitter at the Painted Lines. There's a lot of great work that they post, a lot of good content. If you're interested, check out myself on Twitter at DylanJD98 and check out my poor taste in alcohol co-host Matt McGinty on Twitter at Matt_McGinty. Gint, happy holidays, brother. How's your Christmas?
It was great. How was yours?
Can't complain.
Yeah.
Can't complain. New mic brought to you by Santa Claus.
Looks great.
Thank you.
Great.
Thanks, Santa. So yeah, guys. So if you're getting ready for the Sixers and Knicks tonight, this is the place to be. We're going to be doing a full dive into that game, hosting as your Daily Dose pregame show. Before we get to that, Gint, the Sixers open up the 2020-2021 season with a 113-107 nail-biter of a win against the Washington Wizards on Wednesday night. First and foremost, before we're going to break the game down, we're going to review our Daily Dose stars of the game from last episode. But what was one of your takeaways from Wednesday's victory?
You want to go on certain sides of the ball, or you just want to go overall?
Let's start on the defensive side of the ball because the defense looked a lot better than the offensive side did.
Yeah, so some I wrote for defensive. Coming into the season, it was how we could play Shake with certain people because of a defensive liability we perceived that he could be. But the other night, he did not look like a defensive liability. He was going up against two of the best guards in our whole association, and he looked good. He didn't step down from the competition, to say the least. I'm not sure what their percentages were against Milton. I'm pretty sure Brock tweeted it out.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he was all over the game the other night. He's an awesome follow to have for the game. So, but Shake looked great defensively, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, he definitely did. I think the numbers were like 3 of 13, but I feel like that's off simply because that's what Tobias shot, and I had that written down. But I think it was something similar to that.
Did you say 3 of 13?
Yeah.
I think that's honestly what I saw.
And that's exactly what Tobias Harris shot as well from the field. So, Shake, and it was weird, man, because watching the game, I felt like coming around the screen, coming around a pick and roll action, Shake was trailing Bradley Beal and Russ a lot, and I thought he was in bad position a couple of times, but the numbers say clearly otherwise. So Shake Milton was definitely a big part of that game. Also offensively, just going off of Shake, he played almost 30 minutes, Gint, which you have to love off the bench. He was 6 of 11 from the field, 19 points, 3 assists, 1 rebound, 3 steals, mind you, talking about Shake's defense, and a plus 33 on the night, the best of the game. So Shake Milton, the hype from the offseason to the preseason carried over to the first regular season game for the Sixers. One of my takeaways, I'm going to switch sides of the ball here for a second offensively, is Tyrese Maxey. He got a little bit more run than expected. We talked to Jason Blevins live at the Wells Fargo Center before the game, and the feel that he and other beat writers got was that Tyrese Maxey wasn't going to get really any run in opening night. He got almost 11 minutes of run. He was 3 of 6 from the field. He had 6 points. He was very aggressive. He was a +3 on the night. The thing that impressed me the most, though, Gint, wasn't him getting to the rack. It was, I didn't think or expected him to be as good of a facilitator or commander of the offense that he was on opening night. He had 2 really good outlet passes to open 3-point shooters that resulted in 6 points overall. One to Furkan Korkmaz, and I think one to Mike Scott.
The one that he threw across the court and hit him right in the numbers.
Yeah, he was a much better commander of the offense. He had much better court vision than I thought. One of the things we talked about on the Faithful Fanatic show and here on the Daily Dose was he looks great in the first 2 preseason games, but it was against certain competition. Let's see how he runs against, first team and actual NBA competition. And he fit right in my opinion.
Oh, I agree totally. He looks, again, I'm not going to say a seasoned vet, but some rookies come out there and they look a little uncomfortable. He just doesn't look uncomfortable. It looks like he fits right in. And like I said a couple times in the preseason, he looks like he's playing with a chip on his shoulder, and he knows he went pick 21, and he probably feels there's a lot of guys going before him that shouldn't have went before him. So,
absolutely. What other takeaways do you have for us, Ken?
A big takeaway for me was the beginning of the game when Ben just looked very, very assertive, and it was something really. You saw the mid-range jumper he took away. It was like a fadeaway kind of, and then the little run he went on in the third quarter when we couldn't score at all. We didn't score till like 6 minutes up in the third quarter.
No, less than that, I believe.
Really, and I'm pretty sure he rallied off like 6 straight points, and that's something we absolutely need out of Ben. He just needs to keep being assertive. He kind of at some points ghosted away a little bit, but last year Ben would have ghosted away for that whole second half, I feel like, which I don't think he did. So
I completely agree. The end of the third quarter scoring that came from Ben, he had 2 or 3 straight possessions for 4 or 6 points. When, like, as you mentioned, the Sixers offense didn't score a field goal in like the last 10 minutes of gameplay. The offense went completely stale and stagnant. It looked awful. No one could hit an open shot. They were turning the ball over. And then normally I feel like, it would take Joel or someone else to step up and hit a shot for the offense to get going. Ben said, no, not this year. I'm going to get assertive. I'm going to get it to the rack. I think the first scoring was Ben getting to the rack and getting a layup, or that was the second basket. I forget. But in the beginning of the game, one of the things that stood out to me the most was, yes, he was very assertive and aggressive in the beginning of the game. And he scored early. But it was one of the plays which he didn't score on, which was most impressive to me. And that was coming around a Joel Embiid screen in which he pulled up with like a mid-range elbow jumper. It didn't fall, but it was nice to see.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of brought that up as well. But it was something we would have never saw previously out of him, besides probably in the summer league when he debuted. So that was just something great to see out of Ben. And then another takeaway that I kind of want to get into was, it's a kind of a coach's takeaway, was when they were going on their run in the third quarter and everyone was saying, well, why is Doc not calling a timeout? You didn't see anyone rotated in. Doc said, starters, you're out there, figure it out. It's a gut check for basically, in my opinion, 2 players, Ben and Joel, saying, you need to figure this out. You're my 2 guys. Go figure it out. And Ben figured it out. Ben, like I said, we rallied off probably 2 buckets in a row, and it just looked like something that last year would have never happened, and in previous times would have never happened.
I completely agree. Speaking of, one of the takeaways I had was, isn't it nice to have a coach that can draw up a good play call coming out of a timeout?
I was amazed that a play call didn't result in a top of the key Joel Embiid 3,
which resulted in almost like that put away dunk from Ben. Obviously, the game wasn't over just then, but that play call, that play where Seth, it was what, Joel at the free throw line, around the free throw line, Seth at the elbow, a little outside, and Ben in the dunker spot. And it was designed to do that. It was designed to bring, it was either Thomas Bryant or Russ up off of Ben. It did. Seth makes the bounce pass to Ben, easy dunk. Should have been an N1 in my opinion. If you watch TPL live, I thought he was going to the line for another shot, but he didn't. They didn't blow the whistle. But you obviously, it was designed when the ball isn't even in Ben's hands yet, and Joel's like this. Yeah. Like, clearly that's the design of the play, is to get that ball to Ben in the dunker spot for a bucket. So that was my caps off to Doc Rivers in that standpoint. Before we get into our previous starts of the game and my last takeaway, again, I want to touch on one thing. In the pregame show we did on Wednesday night, we talked about the newcomers: Dwight Howard, Danny Green, Seth Curry. And Tyrese Maxey a little bit, but we kind of talked about him already. Let's break down the play of the newcomers in those 3 free agent or trade signings this offseason. I thought Dwight Howard came in here and did exactly what was expected of his role, which was 10 rebounds in 13 minutes of gameplay, which is incredible. Seth Curry, he still doesn't look like he's exactly fit in here yet. However, he was extremely clutch down the end of the game. Like I said, he assisted on that Ben Simmons dunk. He had the end of the shot clock feed to Ben for the alley-oop late in the fourth quarter. He had that like runner fadeaway floater type shot over a defender for a clutch bucket late in the fourth quarter. And then Danny Green, was a minus 27, I believe. He only played 18 minutes. He was 1 for 6 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3-point land, one turnover, 2 steals, and 2 points. So Danny Green out of the 3. Wasn't he mine, yours, and Jason's pick of the 3 to stand out tonight? That wasn't the case.
Not at all. And I wouldn't say it's alarming in any way.
No.
I still think there's a lot of ironing out to do with this Sixers team, and me and you talked about it. The fact they came out of a win last night. I mean, I keep thinking it was the other night. It's just amazing because everything seemed to be going wrong at the same exact time. Danny couldn't hit a shot. Tobias couldn't hit the side of a barn. It just seemed like everything was going wrong. They were able to somehow come out with that win the other night when it looked like they were down and out. They were down, I think, 10 going into the fourth quarter. So it wasn't looking too good, and they somehow found out a win. But I just want to mention Dwight Howard again because 13 minutes, 10 rebounds. Dwight Howard is just everything we need in a backup center, and I'm so glad we got him. We've brought up the Greg Monroe thing 1,000 times, just dating back that Toronto series. So, and he just sets the hardest screens I've ever seen. Everyone that runs into a Dwight Howard screen, I feel like just doesn't get through it. And
you're not getting through it.
Dwight looked great the other night. Seth looked good, and Maxey looked good in his time. It's just Danny Green didn't look that good at all.
And then the post-game shot or video of Dwight, which Ben said was Dwight is the one that's pushing him, and Dwight's the one that led that post-game shoot-around. That was really nice to see. I don't put too much into, when guys are on social media a lot and you see the comments, well, get back in the gym, get blah, blah, blah. You don't know the work they're putting in, but to see that after a win was really nice. My main takeaway is what you just touched on a little bit. To shoot the way they did, to have the offense be as poor and stale as it was, especially late in the first half and to start the second half for most of the third quarter. And to come out with a win with a completely new coaching staff and a lot of new pieces on this roster. Day one, you play poorly and you win that game. A game that you think, like, if this was the Sixers team of last year, they don't win this game. They lose to the Washington Wizards on opening night. They didn't. And that's my point. I know what I'm trying, like, just day one with a new, outside of Joel, Ben, and Toby, a new nucleus of a team and a new coaching staff, and you come together and win that game. I just want to point out these numbers again. I said them to you earlier. Look, the league is transforming to a shooter's league, and especially from deep. And the Washington Wizards on 27 3-point attempts shot 48.1% from 3. The 76ers on 28 3-point attempts, so basically the same number, shot 28.6% from 3. That is a humongous difference. The 76ers' entire starting five, Gint, had a plus minus of a minus. Danny Green, minus 27. Tobias Harris, minus 7. Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, minus 2. Seth Curry, minus 1. The entire Washington Wizards starting lineup was a plus. And reversely, the entire Sixers bench was a plus, led by Shake Milton plus 33, compared to an entire Washington Wizards bench posting a minus of a minus 23 from Troy Brown Jr., a minus 21 from Ish Smith, a minus 16 from Robin Lopez, a minus 14 from Mo Wagner. That is mind-boggling to me, just those numbers.
I agree, and it's a problem we've never had in the past. If you pull up the comments that just came in.
Mark Bracey said that's a losing
formula. That's a losing formula. But in the past, we've never had that issue, and we've never won anything.
Yes.
And I'm not stating that the starters can go negative every game. Don't get me wrong by that. But
that's not what I'm trying to throw out there.
We've never had a bench where we had a chance. Let's just put it this way. Last year with the Sixers, if we're down 10 going into the fourth quarters and our starters aren't starting on the court, that game gets to 18-20, and we don't look back and we lose that game. But I'm not saying for some reason, with this bench, we claw back into the game, and we give our starters a chance to win the game. And it's exactly what they did.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, Mark. I completely agree with you. I'm not trying to say in any way, shape, or form that is a great thing that the bench outperformed the starters, that we needed the bench to play to that level. I'm just saying in the past that never happens. We don't come away with a win. And on game one, with a new roster and new coaching staff, finds a way to come together and get a win. They talked about it on NBC Sports Philadelphia in the postgame show. That's something that, can kind of bring new teammates together, and you can have that bond like, okay, we have something here. Before we continue, again, Chris Coyle says, let's go, boys. Mark, earlier, I was going to wait for this comment to segue into the Knicks game tonight, but he says Sixers first road win of many. Let's go. Everyone's fired up. And then Mark says, again, Tobias may be the issue since he's not a natural spot-up three-point shooter. Tobias was definitely an issue the other night. I can't stand him at times. I want everyone to pump the brakes on Tobias Harris for a second, though, which I guess we'll segue into our Daily Dose star of the games from last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let me get this right. Mark Wagner says Tobias not playing to his $34 million contract. Exactly. So what I want to say is when they made the trade and in the offseason and the offseason before, or last offseason, excuse me, a lot of people I had arguments with and conversations with because they were disappointed that we traded Landry Shamet to give up Tobias Harris. Landry Shamet is a complete and utter liability on the defensive end of the court. I talk about Furkan Korkmaz defensively. Landry Shamet makes him look like a damn all-star.
Yeah.
On the defensive side of the court. Okay. I know he can shoot good from three. We thought, when we still had JJ and him, we thought he would replace JJ when he left, and everyone fell in love with Landry Shamet. The Sixers absolutely won that trade. The part where it gets messy is Tobias Harris should have never gotten the max contract. That's not a Tobias Harris issue. So when everyone, he's not playing to the $34 million contract. He's not. He never will because he's not that guy. Exactly. Would we love him to be? Yeah. And did they need someone, I guess, to be when Jimmy was walking? Yeah. But that's not Tobias Harris's issue. Does he need to play better? Absolutely. He didn't even look like he belonged on the floor the other night. And I fully expect him to look better tonight. But that's not Tobias Harris' fault that he got the $34 million a year contract.
Totally agree with everything you just said. But dating back to the Landry Shamet thing, Landry Shamet was literally unplayable last year in the postseason in the bubble for the Clippers. If you ask Doc Rivers, not that he's ever came out and said it, but he literally couldn't play Landry Shamet. Landry Shamet, we got very lucky by making Landry Shamet look as good as he did to pull off the deal we got for Tobias Harris. The idea of Tobias Harris at the time was awesome. 50% from the field, 40% from three. That's not what we've gotten out of him. And Tyrone Johnson said it on the Madness podcast that Tobias Harris might not ever be that guy again because he never was that guy before that year with the Clippers, and he never has been that guy after that year for the Clippers. So we hold him to such a high standard because of the contract, but he's just not he's not that guy. And I picked him to be – I was hoping to be the offensive player of the year for the Sixers.
I picked him to be my Daily Dose star of the game.
Which, obviously, we can run into the numbers, was definitely not the case.
Absolutely not. Let's see. Mark says Butler should have got that contract. Absolutely agree. We definitely tried. The shitty part to Megan is that, in my opinion, the reason it didn't come to that case is because we held on to a head coach for an extra year instead of keeping Jimmy Butler.
Another thing is the way Jimmy Butler is shooting threes at this point, it probably wouldn't have worked with Ben, Joel, and Jimmy. And I know it was such a great idea, and Jimmy looked awesome last year in Miami with everything they had. But if you're really going to break it down, Jimmy Butler, Ben Simmons, and Joel Embiid is just not a good fit. And they probably still can figure it out because they're both three of the top 15 players in the world probably. But, I mean, if you're just looking basis on how the game of basketball is right now, I don't know if it would work.
Yeah, and I don't want to get stuck on that conversation.
Yeah, agreed.
So moving on, Mark says, I think the issue is that the trade package
picks for Toby was comparable to a package for an all-star, but he wasn't.
Dude,
Now he's paid like an all-star, and he's not.
That's not true. Tobias Harris was on the fringe of making probably when the Western Conference was at its peak in the All-Star game. So Tobias Harris, if he was in the Eastern Conference that year, when we traded for him, would have been an all-star.
Yeah. Daniel Rosenthal says Tyrese should play more minutes tonight. I think he will, simply because I don't expect this game to be that close late in the game. So I think you'll definitely see more of a Tyrese run, and he looked great commanding the offense. Mark again says, do you think Matisse gets real minutes tonight? I think for now, I think he's found himself out of the rotation. I think he could get real minutes tonight again for late in the game.
Yeah, one thing I really didn't understand, it was actually a question that was brought up to us, was who would be on the court at the end of the game. And you had said, who do you want to play on the court of the game if we need to stop? And I had said to you, I was like, it depends. If Matisse hasn't played all game, there's no way Doc's just going to throw him in there for the last minute to go get a stop. That's literally what he did. So I found that really weird, to throw a guy in who literally hadn't even take off his warm-up jacket all night, to just throw him in the fire to say, go get a defensive stop, which we didn't get the stop, but I'm not going to blame. Yeah. I just didn't get, we brought him in, and he didn't guard Bradley Beal or Russell Westbrook.
That's what I texted you that.
Yeah.
I was like, what is he came in to guard Bertans, which I get Bertans killed us with those 3 or 4 possessions in a row in the third quarter, but or late in the second quarter. But dude, if Matisse is coming in for as a defensive specialist late in the game for a stop, it has to be on one of those 2 guards.
I agree, that's why it was just real. I had said that I think he was brought in because you can switch a lot. You can switch a lot more with Matisse on the floor. But I still would have had him on one of the primary guards at the time. But I mean, I'm not an NBA coach here, so.
All right. Coyle says, I think you are going to see Toby step up once they figure out this offense. You see sparks and think he's going to be a monster tonight. Definitely has the ability to do it. It's what Toby shows up. There's some more comments about Jimmy. Mark says, was there any truth to the rumors that Ben wouldn't stay if Jimmy was re-signed? And Philly B says Butler left because Brett Brown can't coach stars. Guys, it's a happy time to be a Sixers fan. I don't want to talk about what could have been or what was, because that was such a depressing time. But I think there's truth to a lot of it.
Definitely the Brett part. I think the Brett. Again, we don't want to get into it, but go and watch the JJ Redick podcast with Jimmy Butler. It answers a lot of questions about what happened in Philadelphia. And
then Nadir says Elton should go to jail for that contract signing. It was a financial fraud. I agree. I can blame Elton for the contract. I do not blame Elton for the trade, because I still think we won that trade and it was a good trade. And it also said, like, because Jimmy was there now, and it was okay, we're going after a ring right now. Yeah. And they were a 4 bounce away from going to overtime with the team that ended up winning it all that year in Toronto. So I don't think the trade, in my opinion, is still a good trade. The signing, good. Sorry, that trade is a no-brainer. If that trade off to the table right now, again, Landry Shamet is hardly a rotation piece for the Brooklyn Nets. That's the thing, again. A lot of Philadelphia fans fall in love with a player too quickly. Or when he was untouchable. Now he can't even get on the court. Yeah, those were good times. Let's see. Philly B, before we move on, again, Philly B says Tobias plays timid, like he doesn't know his place. Yeah, I don't think he knows. I don't think anyone knew their role last year in Brett's system. And I think right now, with Joel being the main guy and Ben and, Shake's getting more of a role and the shooting and spacing, Tobias, I don't know if he knows his set role right now under Doc's new system. I think that'll come with time, like just like Seth Curry and Danny Green's role will, and so on and so forth. I just lost Matt McGinty. I don't know where he went. Gint, please come back. But anyway, guys, our stars of the game last week, I had picked, you're going to love this, Tobias Harris as my daily dose star of the game against the Wizards. And Gint himself picked Ben Simmons. So let's look at these numbers really quickly. Tobias Harris, in 31 minutes of play, shot 3 of 13 from the field, was 0 for 4 from beyond the arc, 8 total rebounds, 0 assists, 2 turnovers, and a -7 on the night for 10 points. And before I get to a star of the game, Gint, he's back.
Sorry, I don't even know. I think my Wi-Fi went out or something.
I just went over to Tobias's numbers because I'm recapping our stars of the game from Wednesday.
Yes, I didn't miss much then, huh?
No, you didn't miss anything. The 10 points on 13 shots and a minus, what was he? A -7 on the night. Gint's star of the game. So we're going to keep track of this every game, every daily dose star of the game we do. We're going to keep track and see who wins. So Gint's star of the game was Ben Simmons. In 32 minutes, he was 7 of 12 from the field. He had 9 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, 3 block shots. He was one of the lows on the night of a -2 and 16 points. So you guys can comment below and tell us who you think star of the game was, the winner of that.
Yeah, we should need a comment here.
However, I can fully say that I won. No, I'm kidding. Mark here says, see Sixers going 7-3 in first 10 games. I haven't looked that deep into the schedule yet. All I know is the Knicks tonight and Cleveland tomorrow. I look one game at a time, but I hope you're right. Mark says you both lost. It's kind of.
Embiid was definitely a star of the night, obviously, but if you had to pick one of us, Tobias Harris is definitely the incorrect answer.
Yeah, it definitely. Before we move on to tonight's game, guys, because I know you want to talk about the Knicks versus the Sixers. Hold on. I haven't read the full comment. I read the full sentence.
This is a common theme on the Twitter Sphere app.
Let's see. Nadir, I hope you realize we need to add some pieces to the squad. As of right now, we stand 0 chance against the Nets. What would you do if you were the shot callers? Okay. Let me address this real quick because I don't want to stay on this topic either. Because, like you said, again, if you're on Twitter, you know what the Twitter sphere is saying. I agree. 7-11 look absolutely outstanding. We know what Karis LeVert is now coming off the bench. Spencer Dinwiddie, Jared Allen, DeAndre Jordan. They were a playoff team last year, and now they add that gave teams problems, and now they add Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. So I agree. They are a scary team. I think they can easily win the East. However, to say that we need to add more pieces, could we? Yeah, dude, it's been 2. They played 2 games. We've played 1. I get it when you look at it like, okay, well, they just dominated. Who did they dominate first? Again?
Golden State, and then they played Boston.
Right. And now, and the Sixers, slide by the Washington Wizards. It doesn't look great, but pump the brakes.
Boston had the worst game plan I've ever seen. Tristan Thompson was the main assignment for Kevin Durant.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's horrible.
That's really bad. So it all depends. We don't know. That's the thing, right? So realistically, in the past previous 2-3 years, the Bucks were the better team than the 76ers, right? But everyone said the Sixers match up well with the Bucks in the East to take them down in the 7-game series. We don't know how we're going to match up with the Nets, right? So let's say Ben takes KD. You're not going to shut down KD. No one's shutting down KD.
On planet Earth.
But if there's a player on planet Earth who can limit a little bit what he can do, it's Ben Simmons. And then you see what you can do against Kyrie. It's not like Kyrie's, one of the top 3 players on the planet. You see what happens. Are they going to be a tough out? Absolutely. Could they win the East? Absolutely. But 2 games in, no. You guys need to. We were all so excited about the Sixers a week ago, and already at the 2 Brooklyn Nets games, we're like, oh, we need to make changes. We can't beat the Nets.
Another thing is this with Brooklyn, and I don't want to talk about Brooklyn long, so I'm just going to make my point. Brooklyn looks really good, and things seem really high right now. There's a lot of people in that locker room that are going to have a lot of opinions if things start to go wrong. You're going to have 4 guys that can put 20 points in a game. Some might not get touches they want. You have 2 centers that probably want to start currently. That one's on the bench, and you probably went with the younger guy to not start for some reason, even though he's better. So, yeah, things look great in Brooklyn right now, but we'll talk in whatever month you want to talk about. Maybe they hit a 5-game losing streak and they start to struggle, even though you might not even see that. But if it happens.
Mark says here, I did not know this. Mark is the man on the schedule tonight. 1-7. So January 7th, the Sixers play the Nets, and we will find out how they match up. I don't know how we just changed our logo here. Something went wrong. There we go. Yeah, Dylan Davis. TPL Live will be after this, starting at 7 p.m. guys. We will be live streaming the Sixers versus next game. So check that out if you
live stream reaction, not live streaming.
Yes. We don't live stream the actual game. That is illegal. As we have to point out to a lot of people. But here we go. Hold on. We have a caller here again. Sir, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Chris Divler, Lancaster County. What's going on, man?
Lancaster. They got bad cable connection out there, don't they?
Very funny, guys. It's proven that this is YouTube TV problems, not Amish country problems.
Coyle has a question for you.
Never gets old. Never gets old. How are you guys feeling about this Knicks game? When we had during our pregame show last Wednesday night, I thought this game was going to be relatively close, but you look at the Knicks and how they're constructed. This is like the exact opposite, guys. You looked how the Pacers were just able to eat against the Knicks in the paint, 68 points in the paint, and then they got 30 fast break points. All this plays into the Sixers' favor. So my question to you guys is, obviously Joel Embiid looks like he's going to be just a beast again tonight. Other than Joel Embiid, who is your player of the game? Have a great show, guys.
Thanks. That is a great segue as we move into the Knicks-Sixers matchup tonight. So again, I guess we'll start with our daily dose starts of the game and then break down the game a little bit.
Yeah, I'm down.
Outside of Joel Embiid, because as we keep saying, that would be my pick. That would probably be Gin's pick. But, outside of him, who's your daily dose start of the game tonight?
It's going to be a running theme with me, but I'm going with Ben again. I am. I look at who their expected starters are and everything, and RJ Barrett's not going to be able to contain Ben Simmons. So, yeah, I'm going with Ben as my star of the game.
As long as Ben is aggressive and not timid to start the game.
He could probably be as timid as he could ever be. He'll still probably end up with a triple-double tonight.
Yeah, but what kind of triple? An 11-point triple-double doesn't faze me. Now, if Men's got a 20-point triple-double, I'm intrigued.
Yeah, no, but I'm going with Ben for my star.
All right, you guys can comment your daily dose stars of the game as well. Mark here says, my money is on Ben. It's a hard take. So as
let me ask you, Dylan, should we maybe throw it back and forth each time I'm on? And so I got to pick first tonight, so you get to pick first next time, and we can't pick the same person?
Yeah, I'm not going to pick the same person tonight. Yeah. I'm going to say that, oh, man, these comments are about to be great. I'm also going to stick with my original game one star of the game, Tobias Harris. The outside of Joel Embiid, mind you, that is because can't get much worse, can it?
And I bet him for going over 30.
You can only go up from here if you're Tobias Harris. And I know he pisses us all off. He was driving me absolutely insane the other night. But that's Tobias.
Exactly.
And against a bad Knicks team, as Dibe said, Obi's not playing. A couple guys are out tonight. They're bad to begin with.
Mark Spellman.
Yeah, this is a game where Tobias is going to – I think he drops between 20 and 30. I'll even say between 24 and 30. I think he's around that 25, 26 mark. I think he shoots a lot better from the field tonight. I think he's more – he got into foul trouble early in the third quarter.
Yeah, he got called for 2 bogus charges too. Thank God his refs aren't doing anything.
And the thing – and this is what I'll say about my star of the game pick. Doc doesn't seem like he's going to sugarcoat anything either. He's not going to throw his guys under the bus, but he's not going to sugarcoat anything. So when asked in the postgame show on NBC Sports Philadelphia on Wednesday night, they asked it about his thoughts on Tobias and if Tobias was in his own head and blah blah blah, and he made a joke. I'm not smart enough to be in that man's head. However, he just basically flat out said he wasn't good. He was too hesitant. He didn't shoot well from the field. So I fully expect Tobias Harris to bounce back. Coyle here says, I like your pick. Thanks, Coyle. Hopefully I can beat Gint this time. Snap from the Faithful Fanatics podcast, one of our co-hosts. Obi or not, it doesn't matter. That is Snap. Obi or not, it does not matter. Tobias Harris needs 25. Bounce back. I completely agree. He's around a 24 to 26 mark for me tonight. Dive says, would like to see more cohesion and better defense from the starting lineup. And Dives, his star of the game is going with my guy, Shake Milton, again tonight. And then Nadir also says, Shake is going to dominate for sure. Matisse will get some early minutes. I don't see Matisse getting early minutes at all.
I'm starting to think Nadir's Doc Rivers.
But I do think that Shake goes off tonight. And Mark here says, go Sixers. See you guys later. You're the best. Thank you for tuning in, Mark. Thanks for commenting. It makes it a lot more fun for us. So, again, we gave our daily dose stars of the game. Game tip-off is just about an hour away. So let's break this one down a little bit.
Yeah.
What are your first thoughts? What are the keys to victory for the 76ers tonight offensively? Because defensively, we'll get into it in a little bit, but I don't see many issues. Offensively was the issue Wednesday. How do they fix that? What changes do you expect to be made? So on and so forth.
Yeah, no. So obviously the Knicks are missing a handful of guys. Manuel Quickley's not playing. Obi Toppin's not playing. Austin Rivers isn't playing, and the Knicks' best player, Amari Spellman's not playing. So they start Elfrid Payton, Reggie Bullock, R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson. So, I mean, in terms of keys, just obviously you have to play to your matchups, and Joel Embiid is a much, much, much better player than Mitchell Robinson and should be able to do kind of what he did against Thomas Bryant and just kind of have his way. And then Ben, I think, will have a favorable matchup as well. And then after that, those other three guys in the starting lineup just need to make shots. And that's not what they did on Wednesday when they played. So they need to hit shots, and they just need to roll this team over. And they don't need to. Don't get me wrong. Like, if they don't destroy it's okay. I'm not going to panic, but I would love to just see us beat a team we should beat. And I'm not saying beat by 6 points like we did the other night. I'm saying just
beat up on the New York Knicks.
Let's hit 11 first half threes. So, like, let's just do something that you see other teams do. Like you saw Brooklyn did to Golden State and Miami did to New Orleans. Like, I want to see that type of victory.
Yeah, I'm with you. Offensively, Joel was dominant the other night, 29 points. But it took a little too long for me, like in my opinion, for him to get going. It took for that, not panic to set in, but that 10-point deficit. Okay, I need to get going. I want to see Joel Embiid in the low post, active often and early, and then they can play inside out. I think that's what they want to do. Jason said that last week before the show. Joel in the post, he saw a lot of double teams, at times triple teams in the paint, and then he's got to make the right pass to the outside. I'm with you. So if you start there, and then the outside shots will come. The question is, will Seth Curry hit them tonight? Will Danny Green hit them tonight? I need to see, not that I need to see, I'm with you. It's the same thing with the Knicks overall game. Like, they don't need to blow out the Knicks. They don't need to dominate the Knicks. And Danny Green doesn't need to have a good game. But I would like to see Danny Green have a bounce back game, shoot efficiently from three, play better defense, not be a minus 27 on the night, and be playable in the second half. He only played 18 minutes last game.
Yeah. That's definitely, I want to say alarming, but ideally for Shake to replace someone in the starting lineup, it would be Seth, because Danny Green's obviously better defensively than Seth Curry. So again, not alarming because it's game one and Danny Green's coming off not the best shooting season of his career, to say the least. But I just want to see a domination tonight, like Quill kind of just said.
Yeah, I was going to pull it
I
up.
also want Brandon Ayuk to get a bunch of catches because
I bet the Cardinals -3. So what is that score again? Can you update me really quick?
Yeah, they're down 8, I think.
The Cardinals are down by 8.
14-6. Yeah,
that's awesome.
And Ayuk had
a great start.
1 fantasy points, but that's beside the point. We're really lucky they're missing Amari Spellman tonight. He's an unreal basketball player. So,
the Villanova in him came out. The freshman year, Omari Spellman. Oh my God, I can't talk. Yeah. Was unreal. But the unreal player in the NBA that you're saying, Joel Embiid would put Omari Spellman on the block 19,000 times tonight if he played.
He would. I can probably admit that.
Yeah. So I'm with you. What is your prediction before we change subjects for the last couple of minutes, Ken? What is your final takeaway and score prediction for tonight's game?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of reiterate what I said. Please, just let's end this game in the first half tonight. Let's go into the break up 22 points. That would be awesome. That would be a great feeling. Score prediction, I'm going 127-101. Sixers win.
Wow, talk about a cover. What is this? Do you have the line for tonight?
No, but as you're making yours, I can find it.
Okay, so here's what I'll say. And I say the same things when the Eagles play a bad team, a.k.a. the Giants. And in both Giants games, they lost one, they won one with a miraculous comeback. I said both things going into that game. You cannot, as a good team, or, what we expect in the Sixers, as a good team and a contender, to let bad teams hang around and stick around out over the course of a game. If you let the bad New York Knicks and the young New York Knicks stick around, they will continue to gain confidence throughout the four quarters, and they will be in it till the end and could upset you at the end. You need to put this team away in the third quarter. And like again, if it doesn't happen, obviously, if the Sixers, win as a buzzer beater, I'll be ecstatic at the end of the game. But it's going to piss me off a little bit.
Yeah.
You're the better team. Go out and prove it. I know that it's early in the season for the offense, and after what we saw against Washington, they made the 31st ranked defense last year in the Washington Wizards look like a top 5 defense on Wednesday night for most of the game. But I'm going to say Sixers 114, Knicks 102.
Okay. The line is 8.
The line is 8. So
I'm taking the Sixers to cover that, obviously.
I'll take them to cover it. You have them taking it times like 3.
Yeah, it's good math. Kutztown education.
That is great math right there from your Kutztown grad. Chris Dive says, going big tonight, boys. Sixers win 120-102.
Dives was on the money last game. Missed it by like 2 points.
Yeah, it's like 3 total points. Dives, you still that room on AC soon still on you, right? Knicks came out strong versus the Pacers in the first half. Pacers destroyed them in the second half. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's going to be a blowout right out the gates or by halftime. Like Gint said, it would be nice to be up 20 plus at halftime. I don't think that'll be the case at all. But my point being is don't let them stick around until the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Young, inexperienced team that doesn't know like how to win or how to lose yet. If they're sticking around the fourth quarter, like the MCW Sixers team would at times. Remember that year MCW's like rookie year, they started out like 5 or 6.
Yeah, they beat Miami with LeBron, then they beat Chicago with Derrick Rose, then they beat Washington with John.
Yeah. They don't know. They're so inexperienced. They don't know how to win. They don't know how to lose. You let these teams stick around, they will hurt you at the end of a game. And someone will hit a shot that shouldn't hit a shot late in the fourth quarter. So put this team away in the third quarter, and let's have a relaxing fourth quarter. We have some more score predictions here. Philly B says 119-111 Sixers. That is at the 8 mark, and so that would be a push. Where you're finding that spread. 130-113, Kevin says. 130 would be a hell of a night from the Sixers. That means
127.
That means Furcon's dropping like 38 tonight.
We almost went the whole show without even talking about him.
I tried to. And Coyle, I was going to do it. Coyle says 112-99 Sixers. He has the Sixers holding the Knicks to under 100, which I was going to get. Philly B says, I really like the show. Keep up the great work, fellas. Thank you so much for tuning in. Before we wrap up here and get to our final takeaways, again, show the people what you're drinking tonight. Watermelon White Claw.
Great drink. Don't let Dylan play you this feminine. It's better than whatever he's drinking.
So I'm sorry, and this is off topic. This is off sports and Sixers topic here. But me and Gint got into it pre-show because Matt McGinty here is sitting here drinking that crap. And he's trying to tell me that Blue Moon is a bad beer. So in the comments, please tell us which is the better drink. Blue Moon.
It is great.
I looked at vodka. Or watermelon White Claw. Philly B says that might be good with vodka.
It is great. It's also a great mixer. It is.
Tori, says last year's team would lose tonight. LOJK. I don't know. I'm not laughing or kidding about that. They could lose last game. Dibe says this is the type of game the Sixers would have lost last year, but Doc Rivers will have them ready tonight. That's what me and Gint said about the game against Washington. That had all the feel of a loss. And then he draws up that play out of the timeout in the final 2 minutes of the game. And you just knew, okay, this isn't the Sixers of last year anymore. That's why when I keep thinking oh man, it's just this most Sixers thing to do, to leave the Knicks hang around for till 5 minutes are left and something bad can happen. I don't know if Doc's going to allow that tonight. I don't know if Joel and Ben are in that mindset tonight. So again, what are your final takeaways? Give me one thing you want to see on the offensive side, because if you haven't noticed, that's the theme. The offense was stagnant for most of the game one. The defense was ahead a little bit. What do you need to see one thing you want to see offensively tonight?
Oh, you know that answer. I took Tobias Harris to score more than 30 points tonight, so I would love to see but in real
outside of your gambling addiction.
But in reality, in terms of just overall, I would love to see Tobias Harris make shots tonight. Tobias Harris was put in a great position to make shots the other night, whether he's a spot-up shooter or not. He's a basketball player that had a lot of open looks the other night that didn't make open looks. So I would love to see Tobias make some shots tonight.
I want to see a little bit of both. That needs to happen definitely, because I'm with you. Like we said the other night, Ben and Joel are great, but this team's really going to go as far as those two combined with a solid, good performance out of Tobias Harris is going to take you this year. I also think that goes for the the 3-point percentage of this team with Seth Curry, Danny Green, Shake, Furkan, so on and so forth. I think that's what it comes down to. So tonight, I agree. I named him my daily dose star of the game. Tobias Harris needs to bounce back and drop 20+ tonight against the Knicks and shoot efficiently. And I need to see the 3-point shooting go up. They shot under 30% in game one of the season. They're too good from deep. I know that will change throughout the course of the season, but I really believe that with Joel and Ben, if you surround them with, lethal shooting from the outside, the sky's the limit for this team. And I believe that in the East, in the entire association, I think this team is good enough with those two stars with their minds right. So if I need to see Danny Green, I need to see Seth Curry shoot better from three, and I need to see Tobias Harris step up.
Yeah. We're almost at game time. I hate the 7:30 start. I know me and you both talked about it, but
that is so stupid.
That extra half hour is just getting to me bad, but
that is so stupid. So, Gint, plugs. First of all, I hope everyone had a happy and Merry Christmas. Hope everyone has a good New Year's this week. The Daily Dose will be back at it live on Monday. Gint, are you available on Monday?
Wait, you're not going tomorrow?
Tomorrow's a busy day.
Right.
I can see. But, you got football, and then the Eagles-Cowboys play.
That's true.
And then the Sixers start right after.
Better Monday.
Daily Dose will probably be back after Monday. Gint is making me look like a lazy host, not going live tomorrow.
We just got an Eagles game tomorrow and a Sixers game tomorrow. I thought for sure you'd want to do something, but it's okay, man.
Maybe in the morning.
I was going to say maybe a little afternoon.
All right, maybe. We'll surprise you. So check out Twitter on the Between the Lines.
Subscribe. Hit that like button. Ring that bell. Turn notifications on. TPL YouTube.
So the Daily Dose will be live either tomorrow or Monday. I don't know yet, but it'll be live every day this week up until Thursday at 5. The Faithful Fanatics show will be live at 5 on Wednesday. Daily Dose will be live at 6 on Wednesday. And we will be having Rob Motti joining us Wednesday night on the Faithful Fanatics pod.
In the building.
Yeah. So for myself, for Gint, go check out our Twitter page at Faithful Fans 2. Go check out the TPL Twitter at The Painted Lines. Go Sixers, and a back-to-back with the Knicks tonight and Cleveland tomorrow. And go Birds. I'm slightly serious. I'm slightly kidding. Have a nice night, everyone.
I'm sure you lose tomorrow. Jamar Chase, call my name.
And happy holidays.